I definitely would have preferred a full rumbling over this. At least a rumbling is bold and would have been remembered, but this ending ruins Eren Yeager as a protagonist. I guess we should go through all the things that don't make sense. So, for one, chapter 139 opens with Eren explaining that he had to turn Mikasa and Armin against him. But when asked why, he explains that he had no choice. He just let his body flow or something with future memories. Which honestly makes Eren the biggest hypocrite in the world. He spent chapter 112 calling Mikasa and Armin slaves when he was actually the biggest slave of them all. Armin asks if the reason why he distanced himself from his friends was so that they could kill him and become the heroes. Eren confirms that yes, this is true, which is just hilarious. I swear, when the rumbling first started back in chapter 122, the first thing everyone started theorizing was that Eren was pulling a Lelouch. But unlike Code Geass, this actually makes no sense. Paradise Island was technologically way behind the rest of the industrialized world, and literally one bomber fleet could decimate Paradise Island. And without the power of the Titans, Paradise Island would have no way of fighting back. It would be a one-sided slaughter, and no one is going to help Paradise after they've killed billions. Then, Eren tells Armin that he and their friends will be honored as saviors or something, like that makes any sense. I'm pretty sure the world would hate them. The Jaegerists would hate them for stopping the rumbling, since it means Paradise Island will now be at war forever, against a technologically advanced enemy that hates them. The rest of the world would be traumatized after the rumbling, and when they learn that the saviors of humanity were also Eren's friends and comrades, they'll hate them too, and still want revenge for all the billions of people that were killed. Then the revelation about Ymir is just embarrassing, when Eren reveals that she actually loved King Fritz. Like, I thought Isayama wrote good female characters. Although, to be fair, Eren comes off as a massive simp in this chapter. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. It turns out that Ymir spent the last 2,000 years suffering from the pain of being in love, and was looking for someone to finally free her, and somehow this person was Mikasa of all people. Out of the billions, she was the one. Even Eren can't give a good reason for why it's Mikasa. Except that it is, and as of chapter 131, Eren doesn't know what Mikasa will do, but he should since he's seen the future. But whatever, there is still so much absurd stuff to cover. And we're not even halfway through the chapter. Eren says that 80% of humanity is dead, and the people on Paradise Island will keep killing. He says that he made them fight with no clear ending in sight. Then Armin feels sorry for Eren for having to see this all, when he touched Historia's hand all the way back in chapter 90. But Eren doesn't deserve any sympathy here. His plan made no sense, and he's essentially leaving it to other people to solve a complete and utter mess with no viable solution. But the chapter treats what Eren has done like it's a noble sacrifice, even though he's honestly the worst person alive. Eren explains that with the power of the founding Titan, there is no present, future, or past. It all exists at once, so he had no choice. However, this doesn't hold up since Eren's mantra was freedom, and to then act like Eren knew he wasn't in control of his actions, but kept going on and on about how he is free and everyone else is a slave is ridiculous. Eren then reveals he sent Dinah to eat his mum so she wouldn't. Eat Bertolt, which is such an out of character moment for Eren. Like, are we really meant to believe Eren murdered his mum and no weight is given to the scene, and Armin treats Eren like he is bearing some huge cross? But no, Eren is a mum-killing, genocidal maniac, and treating him otherwise is incredibly disingenuous and almost an insult to our intelligence. It's like we're supposed to ignore what's right and what's wrong, because Eren had future memories clouding his judgment. Then Armin asks about Mikasa, and this is where the cringe begins. AOT literally becomes a soap opera with Armin calling Eren an inconsiderate friend for hurting Mikasa's feelings. And then Eren declares his love for Mikasa and how he can't imagine Mikasa being with anyone else, and as a reader, you're honestly thinking to yourself, this is the guy I was rooting for. The dude too scared to ask out his adopted sister. And so commits world genocide so she can be free. There was no foreshadowing that Eren liked Mikasa in the first 122 chapters of the manga. Like, none. When Eren said the line, "Mikasa, I've always hated you," it actually made a lot of sense. I think a lot of AOT fans were like, wow, that's harsh. But also, yeah, I believe it. However, it turns out Eren was simping on Mikasa this whole time. We all thought Eren's motivations were to avenge his mum, but it turns out there was second to his feelings for Mikasa, since in the end he sacrificed his mum so he can give Mikasa, what? A better life? Well, she seems miserable now that Eren's dead. I don't understand Eren anymore as a character. I literally don't. Eren says he doesn't want to die, and he wants to be with Mikasa and all his friends, which I swear was an option if he had freedom. But I guess he never did, and Ymir was controlling him? Armin tells Eren not to give up, but this whole situation is bananas. Next, Eren claims that he brought balance to the world or something, like a blank canvas, and again, when asked why he did it, Eren isn't sure, and apparently it was because he was free. But if Eren was free, wouldn't he have chosen to be with Mikasa? Isayama can't tell us Eren was born free when it turns out that he was the world's biggest slave to fate, destiny, or something. Eren then tells Armin that he'll wipe his memories. And I'm wondering where I can sign up for that. Anyway, Armin thanks Eren for his noble sacrifice and promises none of what he has done will be in vain. Eren then says the one who actually saved humanity was Armin, and I literally feel dead inside at this point. Armin is transported back, explaining how he got healed up so fast. Meanwhile, Eren flies away and prepares for his new life as a bird. Armin wakes up after being dropped off by Falco to find Mikasa, carrying the decapitated head of her lover and brother. Armin freaks out at the sight of it. They hold Eren's head and cry together. Mikasa asks if Armin has gotten all his memories, which we think means Eren visited everyone and left behind memories for them to see after he died. The power of the Titans are gone and everyone is de-titanized, and suddenly everyone loves Eren now, which is so jarring. Annie reconnects with her father, Falco does what Eren was too cowardly to do and goes to find Gabby. Levi sees all of his dead comrades in the smoke and tells them that this victory wouldn't have been possible without their sacrifice. Levi actually has the most touching moment of the chapter, when he salutes all his fallen comrades. It's honestly very good. Sasha appears before Jean and Connie, also giving the salute, with a smile that makes you ask, why didn't Sasha live? Gabby and Falco kiss, making them both freer than Eren. Meanwhile, Karina is now a good person and cares about Reiner, even though she spent a lifetime not considering Reiner's happiness, and all because she wanted to be an honorary Malian. Mikasa takes off with Eren's head so she can bury it, and there's a distinct lack of blood over either of them, despite carrying around a decapitated head. Then the Marlenian military show up, and many of these soldiers have probably lost their entire families to the rumbling, yet all they want is proof that none of them are Titans. Which I guess is meant to call back to chapter 11, when Eren was asked if he was human or Titan. Anyway, Armin opens his mouth and words come out, and these words are the right words to convince the soldiers not to massacre the race of people who have just killed billions. Armin claims to have killed Eren, and this solves everything. 3 years later, Historia is celebrating her daughter's birthday, which is like being born on 9/11/2001, but times a million. We are literally living in a fascist utopia where war will not end until either the Eldians or everyone else is exterminated. I've heard speculation that Isayama was a right-wing nationalist, but I'm starting to think it might actually be true now. No one blames Eren for leaving them in this mess, and again, he is treated like a martyr for killing billions. Then we have the most absurd dialogue I have ever heard. about Reiner smelling Historia's handwriting, which we used as evidence for the leaks being fake, ironically. It seems Eren's friends all got cozy jobs in the capital, so instead of dedicating their hearts to humanity, like they did all the way back in chapter 21, they all live in the interior now. Then the chapter starts to close with a meta-reference to their story, which gave me the worst Game of Thrones Season 8 flashback vibes to Tyrion's speech about how stories are the most important thing in the world and who has a better story than Bran the Broken. I do feel like success ruins creators. It ruined Dan and Dave's GOT, George Lucas's prequel trilogy, House of Cards, Lost, etc. Speaking of Lost, it is funny how similar AOT is to Lost now. Both series hinged on great mysteries, some of which got answered. Which got your hopes up thinking they would all be answered, only for the mysteries to be left unsolved, and the ending to be the most predictable outcome imaginable. Now, we don't think the bird is Eren. However, if Isayama later confirms that the bird is Eren, we'll just be like, cool, and leave it at that, because honestly, it's Isayama's story. And if he wants Eren to be a bird, Eren can be a goddamn bird. Anyway, I'm really not sure what this ending is trying to say, because it seems like no one got what they wanted, and nothing got resolved. It's also bleak, but somehow happy. I honestly can't make heads or tails of it. I don't know what I'm supposed to be feeling. Because the world is an objectively worse place because of Eren. And our favourite characters are happy, but their happiness comes at the expense of billions of lives, and a new war of extermination that will never end has begun. I think it's fair to say this is one of the most diverse endings ever imagined, since Eren didn't choose this ending. He was forced to choose it, which renders his story meaningless, since he had no free will, it seems. And Ymir's revelation is kind of sexist, like she stays in an abusive relationship, which doesn't make sense because there was never any hint before this chapter that she actually liked King Fritz, except jumping in front of a spear to save King Fritz, but then deciding not to heal, and so she died. I guess that could be considered foreshadowing, but we always took that to mean Ymir hated her life and just wanted to die. Also, it's funny how the hallucigenia just got completely dropped in this final chapter, and the spoiled last panel makes no sense, since this last chapter has proved the opposite to be true. Eren was never born free, neither was Ymir, Armin, Mikasa, Zeke. Everything was just fate, or destiny, or something. And now there are too many unanswered questions that don't add up. For example, why did Grisha tell Zeke to stop Eren, and then go into the forest and give Eren the founding Titan power? What happened 100 years ago during the Great Titan War? What was the purpose of the Tiber family for the story? Why was the first King's Will able to control his successors? How were the 8 Titan shifter powers made? Why did Ymir and Eren bring about a rumbling? Why did Zeke say he wouldn't mind being born again? Why is there a 13-year rule? Why didn't the colossal titans turn back into people? Anyway, we could go on, but you get the point. It's so weird that Attack on Titan went on and on about freedom, only for the final revelation to be that free will is an illusion, and Eren was love-struck with Mikasa this whole time. It honestly feels like the person who started Attack on Titan isn't the same person who finished it, and this ending was retconned. But people change, and that goes for authors too. I just hope Jujutsu Kaisen, Vinland Saga, and One Punch Man have better endings than mine. Although, after this and GOT, I don't know if I'll ever be able to trust another series again. Anyway, subscribe if you want, or not. Freedom is an illusion after all. But I definitely need a distraction from this ending.